Welcome everyone to Arts Cast and Everything in Between. I am your host, Eileen, aka Eileen Little Crafter. Additional information about this podcast show and my YouTube show, The Little Crafter Show, can be found on my website, eileenlittlecrafter.com. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a quick bit of an update on the website. If you guys go to eileenlittlecrafter.com, if you guys have any comments or questions, there's a full-on contact sheet. It's like a form, more or less. And what you do is you basically give them your name, a comment or a question, and I get it within, I believe it's like 48 to 72 hours. Or again, if you guys want a quicker route, you can just email me. The email address again is eileenlittlecrafter.com. Other information that I wanted to give you guys was that I changed my Twitter name. I didn't know you can do this. This is something that I just found out. I was kind of messing around with Twitter because I wanted to get rid of the HK Star Eyes. I wanted, kind of brand myself a little bit better. Lost train of thought. Rewind. What I wanted to say was, I wanted to brand myself a little bit better so that you guys can know who I am. So I tried Eileen Little Crafter, but they were saying that it's too many characters. I was thinking about Little Crafter 1974 or 74. That wasn't working. So I put Little Crafter. So I figured that would be pretty cool. It also has my logo. One is for Arts Class and Everything in Between, and the other one is for my Little Crafter Show. So I have two logos, which I'm so grateful for. They came out so amazing. So thank you, Mr. Brian Sabinas. He made those logos for me, and I am super stoked and very happy. Everyone, now and again, I'll switch them up. Like my logo for the podcast will be in front, and then the Little Crafter one would be in the back. So I decided to switch things up. So that's just about it for that little bit info. I wasn't too sure if I mentioned that last week or previous weeks. So, okay, let's get on to what the show's about. So, this week I wanted to talk to you guys about actual scrapbooking albums. Last season, I talked pretty much in detail. It's like a couple of series. I think it's like maybe about 4 or 6 episodes about scrapbooking. And I think I forgot exactly what I talked about, but I wanted this time around to kind of condense what I was talking about in terms of making albums or mini albums. For me, what I consider like an album per se is something like 8 to 12 or even 13. I've seen 13 albums, 13 size, which is basically, and they can vary in size. And for me, what a mini album is like, I wouldn't even say 8 is a mini. I think maybe like 6 to like 4 or in smaller or mini. I mean, you can put them 7s and but those are just kind of my mid-range numbers that I think of as an album or a mini album. Other people call it by different names. So basically a scrapbooking album is one where you put your pictures or like your memorabilia that, like, let's say if you went to a concert, things like that. And there are so many different scrapbooking so many different types of systems for making a scrapbook. And there is a traditional one where it's the sleeve with the little binder or a bunch of pages, and some of them you can even take off that little I forgot what it's called. It's like looks like a diamond hat, and it has like a special tool, and you could just or use some type of Phillips head or diamond head, whatever. Or is that just a Phillips head? Anyway, I've seen some that are diamond, but you can either get the special tool or you can just use like your handyman tools or whatever they call these things, a screwdriver. And what you'll do is you just take off that little screw, and you would just add additional pages to your scrapbooking, your album. So that's one particular album. Now they also have something that's called, which is pretty much new, the pocket system. Basically, the pocket system is like different. It's a pocket, a big huge pocket with little individual pockets, and they're plastic. One particular brand that I use, which is the pocket scrapbooking, is called Project Life. It's very quick and easy. You just add these little cards in them and your little pictures, and that's pretty easy. Traditional scrapbooking, basically, you would have to take a piece of, like, let's say 12 by 12 paper, depending on the size of your album. What I normally typically work on when I work on some albums, let me not say all albums, but the one that I was working on last year, and I'm continuing to work on, and I have a couple of others that I would like to share with you guys maybe prior to this. 12 by 12 album, I normally just take a 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper. It could be plain, it could be to, like, let's say if you're doing a birthday party. One year I was lucky enough to find some Hello Kitty paper, and I used it for birthday theme for my niece. And it never fails. Every time I try to do a podcast, I can never get peace and quiet. I'm always going to get some type of noise. So anyway, so what I wanted to say was that, so it could be themed. I've been looking for some Hello Kitty paper, so if anybody gets a line on it, give me a link down below. I would definitely love to see that. No nude pics, please. Oh my god. I've heard of horror stories where you're thinking, or I have had experiences, and when I was first introduced to the internet, I'm thinking, oh, it's a link to go buy some Hello Kitty stuff, and it turns out to be something else, and it's totally disgusting and unexpected. But moving right along, colors that you like, colors that would match the album, colors that would match the picture, and that's pretty much a traditional album that you would use. And they have like different themes. They have wedding albums. They have just travel. What else is pretty popular? Travel, Christmas albums, things like that. So you can really customize some of the albums, and some of them, you just buy it. There is something called chipbook albums. Basically, they're chipboard, either hard or medium weight chipboard albums, and some of them come in different shapes and sizes. So what you would do is basically take your scrapbooking paper of choice, or sometimes they even have paper that is cut to that particular shape. I've seen that also. What you would do is basically you would take some type of adhesive. Now there's wet and there's dry adhesive. Wet would be basically, like I said before, your wet adhesive. You want to use an adhesive that would be good for paper, that doesn't make it curl. I personally like wet adhesive, but some people use dry adhesive, like some type of snail gun, glue gun, score tape, or even they have like different types of size of score tape. Elizabeth Craft Designs makes some. There's one called Stick It, things like that. And then you carefully trim out the design. Either you can trace it out and then, cut the paper out, or you can glue it on first and then, just cut the paper out. You can use scissors, X-Acto knife, whatever works for you. And they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And I see, believe it or not, I think I see chipboard albums mainly more in the winter months, especially during the holidays. And the kits for scrapbooking are a lot for for winter time. So because they make really good gifts, and you want to take a lot of pictures during the holiday season. So you can do that. You can use the chipboard albums. Another type of album is basically using everyday household items. You can take, like, let's say, what was the one thing that I used? Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart box. What I did was basically I trimmed it open, and I can't remember the name of it. I used oh God, goodness gracious. I used the Tim Holtz, I think it's called the hinge system or binding system. Anyways, it's like a binder of some sort that you would, like, let's say if you were using like a notebook when you were in school, you open and close it. It's like a hinge. This one has 2. I've seen some out on the market that are 3. You probably can go to like a supply store or for office supply store, and you may be able to get those. So I actually came across a company that once, I don't know if they're still available now, but it sold like 3s, but this one has like 2, and it's pretty good, and it comes with oh goodness gracious, brads. I can't believe I can't remember the names. It's a little late, and I'm trying to get this done. So anyways, excuse me for that one. Anyways, it's like I said, it's a branding system. It comes with brads. You just basically, you punch the holes. You would cover what I like to do for this particular project, excuse me, what I like to do for this particular project, I like to work to cover the front of the album first. And what I do is I cover the album and I make the paper a little bit, maybe 1 inch or half an inch larger than the cover. I because you want to make sure that you give enough room so that for the fold, you want to account for that. What I also do is, so maybe 1 inch. I like to try and keep it 1 inch. I take the corners and I miter them, which means basically I just make a little slit down the center, and so that I can fold even better without a lot of bulk. And if I have to cut anything extra, then I'll just cut it out. Like I make like little triangles, and then I will or I just cut them in half basically, and so that they can depending on the paper, the thickness, and all that other stuff. So from there, what I'll do is I'll do the front. What I like to do for the inside is I'll cover the inside so that it will cover the fold. And I will attach a separate spine. I will use the same color as the inside, and I will make another so that when you attach the binding system that will hold the pages, you won't disrupt the paper. Or sometimes what people will do is they'll do the inside first, they'll punch the holes, and then what they'll do is they'll take the spine, and then they'll cover the front. So which way you do it, but this is how I like to do it. I find that the book is a little more sturdier once I glue it down the second time around, like the second spine or whatever, or everything's nice and sturdy, and it's pretty secure. So that is that. Also, they do have book covers that are already pretty sturdy. And I know that Zutter has like a book covers. They have like bamboo traditional covers, and they're pretty. I like their prices. I get a lot of their supplies, my supplies from there, because I get the O-rings basically. There's two types of companies, and I have both, so I can talk about this. Zutter and We Are Memory Keepers has the cinch. The Zutter has something called the Bind It All, and it's a really small compact machine, and it comes with a lever, and it has like a system where basically you close the O-rings after you punch the holes, the number of holes that you want. And they have a great selection of videos that you can watch. And they also have, of course, a design team so you can get some ideas. We Are Memory Keepers also has videos for the cinch. And they also, I think, have their own type of O-rings. But for me, I don't have a preference sometimes, so I'll just get the Zutter brand, because in my opinion the Zutter brand is a little easier and less expensive to find. Well, it's less expensive and it's easier to find. But the cinch does have two types of machines. They have one that does squares, and then they have one that does circles. We Are Memory Keepers only does squares. So what you will do is you'll punch in your number of holes. You get your O-rings in, well, because you put your covers back to back. You put your papers in, and then you get everything nice and closed. And why more presto? Basically, you want the seam to your O's, your binding, to be, I believe it was in the inside. So basically it's facing not to the outside, the inside of the book, so that it'll withstand whatever, and it looks nicer. So, and you don't want to press too hard, because then you're going to have O-rings that look kind of sloppy and not professional looking. Well, not professional looking, but they're going to just look like ovals and not really O-rings. So so that's going to be a little bit of a problem. We Are Memory Keepers also has something called the spiral ring, and I tried to use that, and I was trying to figure it out, and I actually had to watch a video because I bought it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I did it, and I made the book, and it came apart, and I was wondering why. Well, it turns out that for this spiral ring, what you would have to do is you would have to tie it on the top and the bottom, and I didn't realize that until I watched the video. Was it the video, or was it looking at the website, looking at a project? And then I looked at the video. So yeah, I think it was either one or both. So I haven't used it again. I still have the O-ring, the spiral ring. So maybe 1 year I might just say, okay, I want to try that again. Because I wanted something different to work with as a mini album, and I had bought this I don't know how many years ago, and I haven't used it since because I got discouraged, and then I kind of lost it, and then I refound it. Yeah, things like that happen to me a lot. But yeah, mini albums are pretty fun. You can also do like the back-to-back method. I saw a great video by a crafter named Heidi Swap. She did this video where you take your paper, like let's say if you have scrapbooking that has, it's called double-sided or single-sided. Double-sided means there's two different designs on the paper, or you can take your single-sided, which is probably a little bit better, and you cut, like let's say if you want to do a 6x6 mini. I'm just making this up because the measurements are easier to remember in my head. You'll just take it and cut it in half, 12 by 12. You'll take it and cut it 6 by 6. What you would do is you crease the paper in half. So basically, that would be measurement of 3. Trying to remember. And besides, I don't do measurements, so I'm trying to work this out very quick. Anyways, so you would go and fold it, or you can just fold it in half, make sure the crease is nice and tight. And then you would take the next paper and you would fold it and glue the two opposite sides together. So once you do that, you keep going until you want how many whatever pages you want. And you have to try and make sure this is even. I did this a couple of times, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not, it gets a little wonky, but you just keep trying, you either do it with, honestly, for this particular project, I kind of think that wet glue is a little bit more forgiving because it gives you time to kind of line up the spine properly. Because when you notice when you're folding the papers, you are actually making a particular spine, so it kind of starts building its own self together once you start folding and gluing. And then from there you will cover the spine if you want, or you can just leave it like that. What else? Then you put the book covers, the covers that you want to use on the last 2 pages, and whammo presto, you have your own book. Now, what other people have been doing, you could put washi tape. You could kind of fold the paper and so that it would fit the back of the spine. You want to make sure and give it some room to so that it can open and close properly without any interference from whatever it is that you put on top of it to finish it off and make it look nice and neat. It also looks kind of cool like that anyways. I like to use washi tape sometimes, or I try to use a different piece of cardboard depending on my mood. So that's one particular way. Some people actually sew their books together, which is a common practice. That's how books were made originally, and it is so cool, but for me it is really complicated. They have, I don't know how many sewing stitches, but it's sewing is not my strong suit, folks. So that's pretty cool. I want to try it. I definitely do. And what would make it easier, and hoping and praying in the future I can get this. I just saw a video which will make paper crafting sewing pretty interesting. We Are Memory Keepers is coming out with a sewing machine. I don't know when it's going to debut, or if it has already been. If you guys seen it or even heard about it, and what your thoughts, opinions about this, I would love to know. Leave a comment or a question down below. As always, so they came out with a sewing machine that will not only do traditional cloth, but it will do paper. Isn't that cool? Finally! I was thinking about this idea for so long, and I'm like, oh my god, why hasn't somebody come out with paper, like something that will work with paper? Because I've seen a lot of people do sewing on their paper, or taking their actual needles and sewing signatures together, which is amazing, trust me. I watched this one that was just basically traditional, I guess like American style, and then I watched something that was called Japanese style. It was really amazing, and I tried it, but I flunked, so. So We Are Memory Keepers came out with the sewing machine, and it looks really good. They talked about how sturdy the machine is going to be. It has storage space. It also has interesting stitches, and the needles are. Some of the needles are going to be for paper, which are going to be coated in some coated in some type of to make the needle last longer, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again. What I wanted to say was so that it could last a little longer, for your paper crafting needs. And yeah, so that's really exciting, and I definitely could see myself trying to sew a seam down the book. Oh, the other really cool thing is, since twine, and a lot of companies are making twine, which we all know we love our twine, it's going to be able to not only use regular needle thread, it's going to be able to use twine, so you can, add it to your paper crafting. So I'm like, yes, finally, awesome. So I'm really, really excited about that. So hopefully, definitely, if you guys haven't watched it, where did I see that video at? I saw it at, I believe it was Scrap Time. I believe that was Scrap Time. But I'll definitely put a link down below for you guys. It's a great channel. I really like watching them, especially when they go to CHA. I think they're changing CHA. It's like this huge big craft show, but I think they're changing the name, but I'm not 100% sure. Moving it along, scrapbooking albums are basically really fun and easy to make. The other way is, like I said, the O-rings, the hinge, sewing, traditional. You can make as big size. You can probably even make your own traditional if you can get those bigger like scrapbooking, not scrapbooking, hinge systems. Like I said, you may try and look or even search online, and I will give you a link so that you guys can see what it is that I'm actually talking about. And I will definitely make a video so that you guys can see either Wednesday or Thursday. I will try and make a video so that you guys can see, and I will definitely put a link down below, so check back or just check on my blog. I also have a section where it has YouTube, so if you click on that, you definitely can see the latest project or haul video or whatever that I don't put haul videos up on my blog. I don't. But for like a project or a project share, I will definitely put it on my blog. So I would definitely, because I want to finish up something before I, present it to you all guys, to you. So what else? So we talked about the pocket style. We talked about the traditional. And originally, some scrapbooker didn't have like pockets. They just basically had like the photo album, where it's no plastic or anything like that. So that's something else that I've seen originally, and I've also I seen a couple of them made that way out on the market. Don't remember who made that, or just if I saw it as a video for somebody that made that type of album. So it's basically just either heavy weight paper, and you would just stick your items on top. So scrapbooking albums are they come in all sorts. What I wanted to say, all sorts of sizes and shapes. And you can do different types of folding methods, hidden pockets. It's a lot of, depending on how intricate. You can start off, beginner level, and then you can look up, different types of books. They also have books. One of my first books that I really enjoyed about scrapbooking was Scrapbooking for Dummies. Yes, I actually did purchase that. I liked it. I thought it was really funny. It gave me a good, pretty decent foundation. There were some things that I had learned already from YouTube, which I have to admit, there are some really talented ladies out there that I really, really enjoy watching, and they are so talented and so informative in their step-by-step. Some of their videos are just amazing, and it's really fun to watch them. So if you just Google, or not Google, if you go on YouTube, just search scrapbooking or mini albums, and you will get different ways. I mean, you just have to search which method is best for you, and give it a shot. And then once you go from there, then you kind of get your own little groove. Once you can continue to do it, then you'll figure out, oh, okay, this step is a little easier for me, or I don't like this step, so maybe what else could I do? Or I want to kind of jazz up my album. What else could I do? Maybe I want to make hidden pockets, or I want to make, the other mini album that I love to make is paper bag minis. Basically, you can either get them from your local grocery store or from like your craft store, and you can either bind them with binding rings, O-rings, and you can fold them so that they can back to back. What else? You can, if they're colored, the color that you like, even better. If you want, you could trim off the ends, or even not trim off the ends. I've seen, things like that. There's also paper bag minis, which are really fun to make. What else? Paper bag. I seen actually someone use, what was it? I think it was a 4x4. It was 4x12 because it was pretty long. And she scored it for, I forgot how. So basically she scored it, I forgot how many times did she score it to fit. I think the picture was 3x3 or 2x2, I can't remember. She printed out these little pictures, and I forgot where. So anyway, so the paper, she scored it. She made a bunch of score lines. She put the pictures in. She took the last one towards the end, and she glued it to the box. It was a little jewelry box. I've seen these at Michael's. And she glued it to the box after she had painted it or did some really cool design in it. And that was a gift. And that was a mini album gift that you can keep at your desk or wherever, you want. And you can just open it and look at it. And I thought that was really, really cool. So that's another thing you can do. You can always get like a cigar box and make a mini album out of that, or put a mini album out of that, depending on the size. I've seen people use boxes. I've seen people make boxes. There's a lot of awesome ideas out there. You just gotta look for them and have fun. Give it a try. It's not for everybody. And they also do have some awesome pre-made, traditional scrapbooking albums that are just really pretty and in a lot of amazing fun colors. I recently went to Michael's, and I didn't pick them up. I should have picked up one maybe, but I seen one that's really what was it? And burlap is another awesome material to work with. And wedding. I saw wedding theme. What was it? Was it the champagne bottle, or was it I saw a champagne bottle once, but since I'm not doing a wedding, and everybody I know has already gotten married. What was it? There was something that I was thinking about purchasing, but I changed my mind. Anyways, I seen one in a house. I've done one where it's a house. What else? It's a onesie for a baby. That's the one I was thinking of. It's really cute. I think it's really awesome. So you can just look up albums and mini albums and Google images. There's a lot of companies also, well, not companies, little store owners on Etsy that sell shops. Your Cricut, your Silhouette could cut out these. But depending on the thickness, for me, I know that my Cricut cuts out, like, let's say, if I'm going to give you a good guesstimate, lightweight chipboard, basically cereal boxes. They make pretty good. Once you put the paper on, and depending on the thickness of the paper, they're not so flexible. So it does withhold, the looking through. So, I can make a mini album out of that. for me, what I like to use if I don't use my Bind It All or my cinch, I will use my crocodile and I will punch some holes and I will just use some binder rings, like those little clips that you see at the edge of some documents. They kind of look like key rings, but they open up, and I definitely know that they sell those at the not the hardware store, office store, supply stores. I've seen those there. And those are, that's pretty good. You can buy them in bulk and make a bunch of minis out of that. So what I like to do for that is I like to use eyelets. I'll put the paper in, punch the holes, and then I will set some eyelets in. I kind of like the eyelets because the eyelets gives it a finished look, and it also protects the hole from like wear and tear when you're looking at the mini album. So that's just another tip or trick. If you don't find eyelets, hey, it's alright. It'll just be fine. And so, or like I said, you can tie ribbon up or use some type of elastic to keep it closed or to keep it bind, depending on, you can make an accordion style mini album, and then you can use some type of closure. Closures are also fun to make. There's different types of styles. It could be just as intricate or just as simple as ever. It's up to you, whatever your skill level is, whatever you want to put into it. And there's different types of mini albums. Like I said, there's for weddings, there's for like baby's first haircut, things like that. Sky's the limit, all baby albums, basically. That's what I wanted to say. Baby albums, weddings, sky's the limit. Winter, Christmas, spring, Easter type of, and you can put the pictures together. I mean, it doesn't always have to be a theme for the album. It could be, just something, it could be something as a simple theme as like family. You can put a bunch of your favorite family, memories in there and call it a year. So, sky's the limit. Have fun, experiment. You don't always have to do the handmade thing. You can always buy it and see if you like it. If you like it, then you want to try to make one. Like I said, YouTube. I think I've made a mini album before. Not too sure. I don't think so. Have I made a mini album on YouTube? I don't know, but I am planning on making one. I'm going to try to make one, a monthly one. Not sure if I'm going to start, when I'm going to start. I know that this month is almost definitely over. I didn't make one last month, so I may just make one for January and February pictures. I don't know. We shall see how that goes. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. And also, you can always email me any show ideas, any comments or questions. You can always, the email address is Eileen@EileenTheLittleCrafter.com. So thank you so much for listening, and as always, bye for now.